Hello you all and welcome to another battle report. This is 2500 points versus my Saurian Ancient and the Vampire Covenant. So I actually met this guy thanks to 9th Age map. It's a kind of cool thing we have on the 9th Age forum, which is basically a map that you put in your location and see whether players lives close to you, and this guy lived 10 minutes away from me, so I contacted him and got the game in, which was very nice. I will have a link to the map in the description, so it's a very cool thing to use if you want to find other gamers in your area. But to start with his army then, he have 5 dire wolves, a group of 15-ish ghouls, Vampire Knights, which is now very brutal with 2 wounds and brutal stat line. Then you have a unit of 50-ish skeleton with hand weapon shield. Then you have a necromancer level 1 on a cadaver wagon. Then you have 2 groups of zombies. There are 20 in each, I think. The one in the back have his necromancer general lord level 3, and you also then have unit of barrow guards with a barrow king and a barrow king BSB and a vampire courtier who is a level 1. He uses all his spell from the, I don't remember the path name, but it's the classic vampire path. And as you can see, I have a unit of 5 chameleons who have scouted up and a unit of rampadon who have vanguarded forward. I put my marker on the ghouls and the zombies with the necromancer lord in it. This is his other flank. He have a warclock, which is a very cool unit of 5 dire wolves. I have scouted a unit of chameleons, so he cannot vanguard with these guys, and a unit of petrodon who have vanguarded forward. And for my own list, I got a salamander who spit venom. It's like a catapult, strength 1, 1+2 wound and armor piercing 1. Then I have a unit of skink braves with 3 K-men. And then I have 2 skin captains, no equipment at all to them, and a skin captain BSB with hand weapon, shield and light armor. I then have the Tyraco Scutus with the Sun Engine, the famous laser cannon behind to give them some buffs. It gives +1 weapon skill to everything within 6 inches. I have my general Colt Lord. Saurian Ancient have so much weird names. He's rocking Lore of Nature. He is ethereal and have a magic res of 2, so 2 upward against most things except for magical shootings. And yeah, then I have another Tyrus Scutus with the Snake Altar, which give everything poison within 6. I love those 2 tanks in the back to give my 2 blocks in the frontward buffs. And I also have my Saurian warriors with 2 Saurian veterans who have both riding cold ones, just to have the option to actually charge out of the unit or run out of the unit to give chaff, because they are kind of expensive, but in the worst case scenario I will lose 150-ish point for sending them out, and one of them had the Triceratops helm, so it's toughness 6 and 1-up save, so he's pretty hard to kill. I also had a Saurian Lord, nothing special on him. He had the armor piercing blade and a hardened shield to give him 1-up save. And then I have a salamander who spit flame, works as a flame cannon with a 8-inch range. So that's it for my army. I wanted to try a new approach to this Saurian Ancient army with 2 big blocks with a lot of buffs to it and Lore of Nature to make them to buff them. And yeah, we will see how this goes. We did start our deployment with dropping one unit after each other, but after a while, when he drops his Vampire Knight, I realized there was only one good position for his Barrow Guards, the only unit I was afraid of, I would say. I don't want them to match up against my Saurian warriors, so I decided to drop everything, and I got +6 to the roll to get first, so I go first. And you can see on this flank I move my Rempharon out of arc of his ghouls in front of his direwolf. If you want to charge, I'm fine with that. I will take those direwolf any day. The chameleon moves up to also shoot at them. Hopefully I can just kill them in shooting phase. If you have something remaining, I will kill it in with standing shoot or stuff like that. And well, on this flank I didn't do too much actually. I move up the Trisus Gutus laser cannon version to shoot at his something, but it still was out of range, unfortunately. But not much more happened. I actually pulled back the chameleon and the Petrodon because I couldn't get out of his arc with the moving. He have angled his unit so good, so I decided I have just stopped him from Vanguard at least, so he's way back. So I decided to just take it cool, back them off, let him come to me. And not much happened in my turn actually. I get off Path of Nature spell that affects heals, and I think I do a wound to his cadaver wagon, but nothing more than that, and he will heal it in his own magic phase, so it doesn't really matter in the end. You can see here his direwolf is gone. I think in the shooting phase I kill like 2 maybe, and then he charges my chameleons and I kill him on standing shoot. Well, you can see here he pushes up his line pretty carefully. His zombie unit in the back, swift reform to face off my Rempharon and Chameleon Skinks on the flank, but otherwise not too much movement forward for his part. His Warclock actually pushes up a bit on this flank. I'm pretty okay with this because I will just pivot my Sun Engine and shoot him down, hopefully, in my next turn. With that and the Chameleon Skink, I should be able to take it down. But that's it for the Vampire first turn. So over to the dinosaurs. What I do in the movement phase, I take the Rempharon and Chameleon Skinks and move closer to his line. And then I take my charge out my tank Saurian veteran with the T6 against his Vampire Knights, and in this combat I found out those dudes have 2 wounds and strength 5, so they are pretty brutal, but I think in the long run I can hold them up pretty long time because I don't want those guys into anything at all, to be honest. So on this flank I charge with the Patriot on his direwolves, and he do 3 wounds to me with his 3 remaining attacks after I kill 2, so we just draw in combat and we stick there. I actually thought I would win this combat easy, but no, I did not. So anyway, we stay there. You can see here in the middle the rest of my line pretty much didn't move at all. I pivot my Sun Engine to shoot at his Warclock next turn. The Chameleon Skinks moved out of arc of his Warclock to shoot at him with poison. I think he dispels the Sun Engine spell, and I do a 2 wounds with the Chameleons. And you can see here my tank actually go into the Blood Knights, not Blood Knights, Vampire Knights, and does, I think I do 2 wounds and win combat by 1, but he have a BSB in the Barrow Guards, so he did not crumble at all, and we just stick there. So in Vampire turn 2, I think he charges the skinks in the flank, but he failed a charge. It was a long charge, so he didn't make it in. And here you can see his army pushing a bit forward. We are doing the Dance of Death, basically with the Skinks and the Saurian versus the Barrow Guards and the Skeleton. And he pushes his zombie block towards my Ramphadon and Chameleon Skinks to his left flank, but otherwise don't do much. He could not get his ghouls into my Scar Veteran because it was in the front, so unfortunately for him he couldn't charge, so he just pushes them forward instead. And here with the grind against the Petrodon versus the Direwolf, I kill one, he does a wound to me, so I lost my second Petrodon, unfortunately. In this combat, yeah, he healed up his knights in his magic phase, and we stick in combat. I do a wound, he does nothing to me. I have to take a break check, but I pass. I don't have to take fear just because I'm stupid, fortunately, but I'm only rolling a leadership 7, cold blood, because he's fear causing. He still gives me -1 leadership, so that's harsh. I could potentially fail one of those tests in a very bad timing if I'm unlucky. Unfortunately, this is the blurry picture, but for turn 3, for the dinosaurs, I pretty much charged the flank of his ghouls with my Ramphadon. My thinking here is if they can go into the flank without suffer too much casualty from the Vampire Knights, they have lethal strike, frenzy, and they could potentially, after wiping out those ghouls, which I believe I could do, go in and make that Vampire Knights suffer brutally, if I'm lucky. Well, here we see that what I basically did, I pivot my Tray Scooters towards his Warp Clock. They shoot last cannon at him, but he dispels that, and I think I get off some buffs on the Skink. I think I get up Regen save this turn for magic. Shooting, don't do too much. The Salamander who spits flame in the right managed to kill like 20-ish skeleton in his skeleton unit, which is kind of nice to get them out of the way. The Petrodon managed to take out the last remaining Direwolf and reform like this. And I start with fighting the combat with the Ramphadon and the ghouls, and I kill the ghouls, suffer a wounds, and overrun into his Wamp Knights. Well, actually his Vampire Knights are brutal. I think he goes in hitting on 2s, killing on 2s, and does 3 wounds to my Ramphadon. I think I do 1 wound maybe to his blood Vampire Knights, and the Ramphadon failed the leadership like 2 or 3. But thankfully the veteran actually hold, so I'm still holding those dudes up, even though it was in hindsight a mistake to send in the Ramphadon into the Vampire Knights, but they did pick out a unit of ghouls that was approximately the same point value as the Ramphadon. For the Vampire turn 3, his Warclock charges the Salamander, and I bravely decided to flee, and he redirected into the Skink Braves and failed that charge. So now in my turn I have a good charge opportunity with the Scooters into his Warclock. And I don't have any other picture of his turn. His zombies, you can see in the right, charges my Ramphadon, who keeps running away. But otherwise, not much happened. He got off some invocation spells and some Some skeletons guys raises up from the dead to fight again. But otherwise, let's jump to the dinosaurs turn 4. So what I do is I charge with the Triscutus into his Warclock. I actually go corner to corner to be as close to my Skink Braves as possible to give them the buffs. The other Triscutus with the Altar of Snakes on it moves up to give all those 3 unit poisons, and I move up my Salamander to be in the way if his Vampire Knights manage to break my poor Saurian veteran, because they will actually pursue, if they choose to pursue, they will pursue away from that combat because of center to center, and they will hit the Salamander, which is good. And you can see here, this is, I made a charge with the Skink Braves towards his Barrel Guards with all the character, which is the matchup I want, because he can kill some skinks, even some my BSB is a fair trade, because my Shaman will actually just throw attacks at his character and try to bash their heads in. And the Saurian Warriors versus the Skeleton, I think I will actually wipe that unit in one go and have a good position to either countercharge his Vampire Knight or get straight into his bunker and take out his general. I did in my turn also rally the Remphanon. He's now had Lost Frenzy, so you don't have to run into things, so we can just avoid, fly around, throwing javelins at people, avoiding combat, and use him as chaff if needed. Well, in Magic I get some good buffs to my Skink Braves, both the Regen save and extra poison from the Triscutus. And well, in the combat with the Triscutus with Sun Engine versus his Warclock, he strikes first. He is strength 6, which is brutal, but he only managed to do 1 wound thanks to my 2-up save. I strike back. I use the crushing attack, which is a very cool ability, very cinematic ability, with the Triscutus using his big tail smashing that big vampire's face in. It's awesome looking, and I roll a 6, so it's poison too, so I didn't even have to wound. I think that's correct. Even if you special attack, you still benefit from poison. If anything else, just write in a comment below if I did it wrong, and then I reform like that to get closer to the action, so to say. So in combat, you can see there is 1 skeleton dude left with the Saurian, and that's unfortunate. I couldn't wipe them totally, but well, what are you gonna do? 1 dude remaining. In the Barrel Guards, the Shaman actually managed to beat his Vampire to bloody pole, and the Skink does nothing to his Barrel Guards. His BSB actually fluffed against my Skink champion. He had 3 attack and he didn't even do a single hit, because hand weapon and shield on Skinks is still good. So that's those 2 combats. And you can see here in the corner of this picture, his Vampire Knight finally breaks my Scarbet, even though, no, I think he actually, in the combat with the Barrel Guard, he sniped out my BSP and one of the Skinks captain, if I'm not mistaken. So I failed my leadership 7 or 6. Cold-blooded, and I run with my Scarvet. I get away, so that's no worry. And he overran into the flank of my Salamander, which is yeah, okay, I guess. So over to the Vampire turn. Well, so for Vampire turn 4, what I did, he didn't manage to do much, to be honest. So we get in Magic, you throw a lot of invocation spells, and I just let them go because I want that skeleton unit in front of me to raise up, because I want free combat rest, because it's much easier to kill skeleton warriors in the front than to try to kill vampire knights in the back to get combat rest. So that's my plan. I actually let every one of his spells go through this turn, even though we get like lightning reflexes on his vampire knights, unfortunately, but that's a sad effect of his spells. Well, you can see here after combat with the skinks and the barrow guards, I think my chainman actually managed to kill off his barrow king, and his barrow king BSB killed my skink champion, and his barrow guards killed my last skink captain. I'm not sure who won that combat. He is stubborn, so he crumble half, and I'm steadfast, so either he lost like a barrow guard or I pass ship 9 cold-blooded test in that combat. With the Saurian warriors versus the Wamp Knights and the skeleton. As I can see here, there is still that champion still remaining and a die, so I guess he had like 4 skeleton or something like that remaining. My Saurian warlord managed to kill a Wamp Knight, but the Wamp Knights go in brutal from the flank, strength 7, hitting on 2+. Oh, holy crap, they are strong, they are really brutal, as they should be, because really awesome looking models, even though, yeah, they are awesome. So for the dinosaurs 5th turn, the Pterodon fly over the cadaver wagon and drops a rock on it, the wound I think. Chameleon Skinks, Ramphadon moves up, and the other Chameleon Skink unit on the other flanks move up to shoot at his bunker. I take my 2 Tri-Scooters, move closer to give my unit some buffs in combat. In magic phase he did manage to stop the buffs on my unit, unfortunately, but I did manage to shoot the last cannon at his cadaver wagon and managed to wipe it out. Remember that it's a lore of life, path of light spell, so it's 2d6 strength 4 flaming attack, so we don't get a regen save against it. And so we only have a 6 up armor, and he didn't pass it, and the cadaver wagon is dead. And here I did manage to kill the skeleton in front of me. I did do some brutal damage to those vampire knights, and I reformed to face them, and next turn will be a fun turn. Now he's only strength 5, or only strength 5, it's still brutal. But I win this combat by 1 or 2, but he didn't crumble. Because he's vampiric, I think he crumbled less, or I don't remember sure, but maybe it was stubborn or something. I think he had the stubborn banner on them. His barrow guards versus my skink, he killed a lot of skinks. My shaman actually managed to smash his BSB into a bloody pole, and yeah, we both stick around in that combat. Well, what happened here? His zombie charges my Petrodon. I choose to run for it over the Saurius and didn't take any wounds. I didn't have to take wounds because it's a friendly unit, but his zombies didn't choose to redirect into the Saurian because they will just leak combat res to them, and that's basically movement. You can see all of his unit in this single picture. I think you can see most of my units in this single picture as well. And well, I did lose some Saurian warrior, but I did manage to kill those vampiric knights in combat. And I reformed to face off his bunker unit of zombies. Turn 6 for the dinosaur. I choose to push up my Tri-Scooters to get in to buff my units. I did go in and pretty much slaughter all of these zombies with his bunker and his general, so that's good. I also put the two Sky Rider units, the Ramphadon and Petrodon, in front of his zombies, which hindsight was a mistake, but imagine if I would fluff and he will get a flank shot with the zombies. It could potentially be risky, so I gladly sacrifice, like, what it is, 65-ish points to get away from him, and now he will have to pass a double one leadership test to redirect into the other flying creature, so I only have to flee with one of them. And well, he rolled this crumble test, a lot of barrow guards die. I think he rolled double 6 or 11 or something, even though they have pretty good leadership test. A lot of zombies die. His whole bunker unit died from crumble. And yeah, this is the final picture of the game. His zombie unit charges the Ramphadon. I choose to flee, so he got 65 points from there. But otherwise, I did manage to kill his whole army. The Barrow Guard died from all of the attacks from the Chainmans, which is very brutal to have this combination of skinks standing in front, taking off all the damage, especially if you have some buffs on them that's made them more less likely to die, like the regen save, and the Chainman just punching holes in character and unit, monsters, cav, whatever. That's a brutal good core unit. Also the Saurian warrior, brutal with spear. I love this build. I will probably try around some alternative for this build. I don't like the Petrodon too much, to be honest. We'll probably exchange that for a Skink Chief on a Petrodon instead. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this game. It was a very nice one. It seems like for every army I play, I start to get interested in playing that army as well, because every army is so well written in Knife Age. It's ridiculous. I love the fluff of the Vampire Covenant. The Vampire Knights is awesome. Everything. The spells is now really cool as well. So I really love the Vampire, what they've done to that army. And yeah, have any comments? Put them below and I will try to answer them as soon as possible. Remember that I was nominated for YouTuber of the Year, casual player, so feel free to go vote. Even if you don't vote for me, I will have the link put below. Feel free to like and start subscribing if you want to see more of this. Have a nice one.